She was just a shy hotel cleaner, used to being invisible, until one day she answered a phone call in Mandarin, right in front of a powerful CEO. What happened next shocked everyone. Instead of being fired, she was called to his suite the next morning, and within weeks, her entire life changed. Let's dip in. It happened in less than a minute, but it changed her life forever. At the prestigious Grand Orion Hotel, a place where luxury whispered through every polished surface and billion-dollar deals were sealed over champagne, Lena, a soft-spoken 24-year-old cleaner, moved through the marble halls like a shadow. Every day, she arrived early. Every day, she left late, never speaking unless spoken to, never lifting her gaze too long. Her uniform was always neat, her work always flawless. The managers loved her because she caused no problems. The guests barely noticed her. And that was exactly how Lena wanted it. She had learned, over time, that being invisible was safer. In a city where she barely spoke the language fluently, and in a world where no one asked about your past, she made herself small, safe, forgettable, until that one morning. The lobby shimmered with sunlight filtering through crystal chandeliers. Businessmen in tailored suits walked briskly across the marble floor. Lena, lost in routine, was gently wiping down the concierge counter when her old, cracked phone buzzed loudly in the pocket of her apron. Startled, she pulled it out and instinctively answered, completely forgetting where she was. "Hello? Mom, I'm at work." Her voice was gentle but clear. Her tone carried something most people missed: grace, education, and an accent that betrayed far more than her job title. And that's when she saw him. Just 10 feet away, Mr. Damian Lee, the CEO of Titan X Technologies, a billionaire tech visionary, stood frozen mid-step. His sharp eyes locked onto her, not with anger, but with something strange. Curiosity. He had heard her. He understood every word. And now, he couldn't look away. Most cleaners would have been ignored. Just background noise in a world too busy to notice them. But Lena wasn't just anyone. When Damian Lee heard her voice, he didn't just hear a hotel staffer chatting casually. He heard flawless Mandarin, spoken with a precision and elegance that stopped him in his tracks. Not the broken kind picked up in passing, but the kind shaped by years of education and discipline. A Beijing accent, to be exact. Rich, clear, refined. It was the kind of accent you only heard in universities, embassies, or old money families. Why? Damien wondered, would someone with that kind of voice be cleaning hotel floors? But before he could say anything, Lena had already ended the call, bowed apologetically to no one in particular, and hurried off, her face flushed with shame, her eyes glued to the floor. He watched her go. There was something in her, something that didn't fit her uniform. A sense of intelligence buried under exhaustion. Confidence, maybe, but hidden under layers of survival. After a long pause, Damien turned to the hotel's guest services manager, who stood nervously beside him. "Who was that girl?" he asked. The manager followed his gaze, confused. "Her? Oh, that's Lena. Just one of our housekeeping staff. She doesn't say much. Very quiet, always on time. Keeps to herself." Damien nodded thoughtfully, but his next word surprised everyone. "Send her to my suite tomorrow morning. I want to speak with her. Alone." The manager blinked. "Sir, is everything all right?" Damien gave a slight smile, eyes still focused on where Lena had disappeared. "Everything's perfect," he said. "I just think we've been overlooking someone important." The next morning, Lena's routine was shattered. As she walked through the service hallway toward the laundry room, a supervisor suddenly appeared, clipboard in hand and a strange look on his face. "Lena," he said, almost nervously, "you've been requested. Personally. By Mr. Damian Lee." She froze. Her stomach twisted. "Mr. Lee?" she echoed, her voice barely audible. The supervisor nodded. "Penthouse suite." Now, her heart dropped into her shoes. Was she in trouble? Had she broken some rule by answering her phone? Maybe she embarrassed him. Maybe it was all a formality before she was dismissed. Hands trembling, she tucked her cleaning gloves into her apron and made her way to the top floor. Each step up the private staircase felt heavier than the last. When she reached the penthouse door, she hesitated. took a breath, then knocked softly. "Come in," came the voice from inside. She entered. The suite was spacious and elegant, sunlight pouring in through floor-to-ceiling windows. Damien Lee stood near a desk, dressed sharply in a tailored gray suit, his laptop open and documents laid out in careful order. He looked up and smiled, not coldly, not like a man about to fire someone. "Have a seat," he said, gesturing to the chair across from him. Lena sat, rigid with uncertainty. "I heard your Mandarin yesterday," Damien said. "Very fluent, very precise. Where are you from?" She swallowed. "Wuhan. I studied linguistics. But I had to leave university after my father passed away. I moved here to support my mother. Cleaning was all I could find." Damien leaned forward, curiosity now turning to admiration. "You study linguistics?" She nodded. He paused, then said something unexpected. "I'm launching a major campaign in Beijing. I need someone who understands the culture, not just the language. Would you consider a short-term position on my team?" Lena's eyes widened. "Me?" Over the next few weeks, Lena's world changed, but not in the way she expected. She wasn't given a title. There was no announcement. Yet, every morning after her cleaning shift, she was quietly invited upstairs to assist Damien's executive team. She reviewed marketing scripts, reworded key phrases, and flagged moments where cultural sensitivity was lacking. When one of the executives suggested a phrase for their campaign, Lena gently corrected him. "That expression sounds good in English," she explained softly, "but in Mandarin, it would feel too aggressive. It loses trust." The room went quiet. Then Damien smiled. "She's right," he said. "That's exactly why she's here." Soon, the team started looking at her differently, not as the hotel cleaner, but as a vital bridge between two worlds. She brought insight, nuance, and something even seasoned professionals had missed: authenticity. One afternoon over lunch, Damien casually asked, "Is it true you never finished university?" Lena hesitated, then nodded. "I had one semester left. I was top of my class. But when my father got sick, I had to drop everything. My mom needed me. So, I left." There was no self-pity in her voice, just quiet acceptance. Damien looked at her for a long moment. This time, not as an employee, but as a woman of resilience and brilliance. The day before his flight to Beijing, he handed her a simple white envelope. She opened it, expecting maybe a thank you note. Inside was a full scholarship to complete her linguistics degree online, funded by his company. And below it, an official job offer, cultural consultant for the Beijing expansion project. Lena gasped. Her eyes welled with tears. "Why me?" she whispered. Damien replied gently, "Because when the world overlooked you, you didn't stop. You kept moving forward." 6 months later, Lena stood at the bustling international terminal of the airport, but this time, everything was different. She wore a crisp navy blue business suit, tailored just for her. Her once-worn sneakers had been replaced with polished heels. Her old cleaning apron was long gone, replaced by a sleek laptop bag hanging over her shoulder. And in her hand, she held a freshly stamped passport, boarding pass tucked inside. She wasn't traveling for vacation. She was on official company business. Lena Chun, formerly an overlooked hotel cleaner, was now a cultural consultant for one of Asia's fastest-growing tech companies. She was flying to Beijing to help finalize a multi-million-dollar campaign launch, an event where CEOs, diplomats, and marketing heads would all be in attendance. But despite the new title, the new clothes, and the respect she had earned, she hadn't forgotten where it all started. She remembered the buzzing of her old phone in that polished hotel lobby, the panic in her chest when she answered her mother's call, the way her heart nearly stopped when she realized the CEO had heard her. And she remembered Damien Lee's eyes, not judging her, but seeing her, truly seeing her. Most people walked past the invisible, past the ones in uniforms, past the quiet ones with eyes lowered and dreams buried under bills. But not him. And now, Lena walked with her head high, not out of pride, but because she had been reminded that sometimes one small moment is enough to change the entire course of your life. And sometimes the most powerful people in the room are the ones who recognize the power in those no one else ever noticed. And just like that, Lena's life transformed from overlooked hotel cleaner to respected cultural consultant. It all started with one moment, one voice, and someone who chose to see her worth. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more powerful real-life stories that remind us. Sometimes, the quietest people have the loudest potential. See you in the next one.